But look where he has the Argonauts set up. Tackle made by Joe Romolo. And the pinball does it again. Mike Clemens had a nice little 35-yard return, but it's going for not called back on an infraction.
Well, it's tough to see what happens, but it's Jason Kaiser that gets hit by Johnny Harris, number 7, right there to the right of your screen. You know, Harris got the hands up. No, I didn't clip him, but he got caught, and what was a terrific return gets wiped out.
Argos will begin at the 35. Still no score at either win in Hamilton. 4:02 to go in the opening quarter. Robert Drummond. And another marker goes down. It's been tough to run against the Tiger Cats. We'll check out the infraction.
Major foul, roughing, number 99 Hamilton, first down Toronto.
That's Mike Philbrick.
Well, it's easy to say, but I mean, these are the kinds of things that when you're in tough in a game against a team like Toronto, you just can't do. And we'll see what, there's no question. I mean, he's down. It's a late hit. Mike Philbrick's a smarter player than that, but for some reason, he just thought he'd add a little extra punishment, but he ends up adding another 15 yards.
And that moves the Argos right out to midfield with a first down, low snap. It was direct to Drummond, and he takes out. Hitchcock has him lined up and forces him out. Back-to-back big plays for the Argos.
And you know what? It looked like a broken play because of the fumble, but it really wasn't, because they were pulling the backside tackle, Chris Giauskas. You watch the snap to Drummond, it's a counter. And he's coming back that way anyway. Looks like a broken play, but it really wasn't. And Giauskas got a good block, and Drummond got to the outside. But you know, that was a good-looking play. He just didn't handle the snap very well.
So not quite picture perfect, but very effective.
Well, Chris Giauskas, the right tackle, who graded out the best of all the offensive linemen last week, threw a heck of a block.
On first down, it's Drummond on a slight delay for a couple. One of the All-Canadians on the Argonaut offense in 1996, Robert Drummond, number 1 in the league in touchdowns with 17 total.
And of course, Toronto has a good rushing game. All you think about them is Flutie and his passing and all pass-crazy kind of offense. But they do run the ball very effectively, and they do what I think teams have to do in the 90s in the CFL. You have to pass to establish a run, and that's exactly how Toronto does it.
This will be 2nd and 6. Argos at the Ticat 32. No score so far as Flutie shovels it ahead for Drummond. And that's plenty for the first down to the Tiger Cat 20. Well, this Hamilton defense has to find a little more inspiration here.
Well, when you run the option, you play a game against one player on the defense, and to the outside, it's Gonzalo Floyd. It's Gonzalo Floyd, 90. As soon as he goes to Flutie, that's Flutie's cue to pump it off to Drummond, and they do it to perfection. But somebody on the defense is going to be in a bind, whether it's the outside linebacker or the defensive end, and that time it was Floyd.
Now at the Ticat 20, 1st and 10, Toronto. Flutie all kinds of time, double coverage in the end zone on Darryl Mitchell with Hitchcock breaking it up. Mitchell with 5 catches, just over 100 yards last week. But 42, Rob Hitchcock makes the play here with a little help from Gerald Vaughn.
Well, Gerald Vaughn was smacking his helmet because I think he was zeroed in on trying to make the interception, and all of a sudden Rob Hitchcock, which is his job to do, to come over and range across and make the play, he tipped it away from his own teammate.
Up to the Ticat defense here. Really good on 8 of 9. Facing 2nd and 10. Markers are down. Time count violation?
Well, no, it wasn't, because there was 1 second on the time count clock when they blew the whistle. So the Argos are pointing against Hamilton.
Offside, Hamilton, number 53, still 2nd down.
Joe Montfort. But all of a sudden it's 2nd and 5.
Well, there's Montfort at the top, and he just is getting a little edgy. He's coming on the pass rush, 2nd and 10. He wants to be the first guy in there, but he's just a little too quick.
He seemed to make an attempt to get back. Drummond continues to pound away. Just 6 carries for 37 yards last week.
I'll tell you who got pounded that time was Kenny Wilhite, number 26. He was engaged with Feldman Malveaux, the blocker, and then all of a sudden when he gets free, Drummond bounces off here. Now watch near the end. Here comes Kenny Wilhite. Boom! That hurts. You got to take on the blocker, and then you get one right in the head from Drummond.
So look where the Argos are now, inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal to go. They get 3 cracks at it from there. No score. 0-0. Drummond, Mike Clemens, I should say. And he is stopped for a loss of about a yard. Look back to that roughing penalty. That's a big part of this drive because the Ticats had the Argos looking at 2nd and 10 back around the 40-yard line. All of a sudden, they're at the 5.
Well, it's an easy thing to say, but you know, when you play a team of Toronto's caliber, you have to play as close to mentally error-free football as you can. And I mean, those are mental mistakes, silly pylons. And I'll tell you what, I know it drives Don Southern crazy. He's a pretty tough defensive guy that didn't make a lot of mistakes when he played for a Hall of Famer. And, you know, he hates that kind of football.
That's all in quarter number 1. Somewhat strangely, the Argos still out of the end zone as we send you back to the panel at TSN Football Control.
CFL Live at the Quarter is brought to you by Midas for new, longer-lasting carbon metallic brake pads.
And welcome back to CFL Live Control. Rod Smith along with Obi, Les, and Marty. And really, Les Brown, I would think a moral victory so far for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The Argos are in scoring position, but I don't think too many thought it would be a scoreless game after 1 quarter.
Well, you know, they showed a stat about this, but Doug Flutie thrives on that opening drive. And he shows it gets really frustrated if you stop him on the opening drive. But containment is the key for Hamilton. Like I spoke at the beginning of the show, that if they contain this man, they have some success, which they did earlier. But here we show that Joe Mumford goes inside, leaves the containment wide open for Doug to get outside, and big yardage or big plays happen. It happened on a series after this, too, the same thing. And on a scramble, he threw a long pass to Dimitrition. So if they can stop him from doing that, they have some success.
Well, you know what, guys? There's still no doubt in my mind the Argos are going to win this game big, but I'm starting to wonder if maybe, you know, by saying that they're going to go 18-0 since day 1 of training camp, maybe these guys are a little overconfident. From a coaching perspective, what do you think, Bob?
Well, I think there's truth to that, Marty. I always felt like I didn't like to add fuel to the opponent's fire. I don't want to motivate the other team with my comments. I want our players to play, and actions speak louder than words.
Well, overconfident or not, the Argos are certainly in a battle right now through 1 quarter at Ivor Wynne Stadium. Scoreless, but they're knocking on the door. Back to Ivor Wynne now and John and Leif.
Ready to be in the 2nd quarter in Hamilton on a sunny afternoon. The Argos have a couple of cracks at it from the 5-yard line. Their star running back, Robert Drummond, being attended to.
Yeah, he just kind of walked down the field and took a knee. It's tough to tell what happened to him. But I thought it was interesting, Bob Abilovich's comments. I'm kind of from Obi's school on not fueling the fire with your opponents, but I'm just kind of wondering in Toronto's case, and this is just my unsolicited opinion, that they're head and shoulders above all the other teams right now. But if they don't just kind of play little games with themselves about this go undefeated kind of stuff. But I mean, I'm from Obi's school, but I think they're doing this for self-motivation.
Trying to find out what happened to Robert Drummond. He might have been rolled over here as you look at number 29 on the bottom of your screen. But he's in obvious pain at the 45-yard line. He was not the ball carrier on the previous play. But now making it under his own power back to the Argonaut bench, while his teammates take a couple of cracks at it from the 5-yard line.
And Matt DeBuck is listed as the backup running back, number 24. He's like pinball, 5'6", 170. So now you got 2 running backs that are like 240 pounds between them, and you're in a goal line situation.
But you do have number 2. And some receivers to go to, but it may not be the time to try and power it across. Although they've shifted Dimitrition in there now. However, Flutie is in the backfield by himself on 2nd down. Pumps it out. He's got the touchdown. Feldman Malveaux has his first CFL touchdown.
Well, again, Doug Flutie just doing that little extra to create some time for a receiver to get open. This time it was Feldman Malvo with his first professional touchdown in the Canadian Football League. And, you know, he came across the field. I mean, it's tough to chase these Argonaut receivers across the field, but he lines up way on the right-hand side. And as Flutie steps up, Malvo is able to have that little extra second to come free, and his defensive back can't stay with him.
So the Argos march ends in a touchdown and a 7-0 lead on the Hamilton Tiger Cats. The opening plays of the second quarter. So Flutie, without Drummond in the backfield, found the new guy, Feldman Malvo, for a 5-yard TD. Took 8 plays to cover 75 yards. A big penalty against the Ticats helped that out for the Toronto Argonauts. And the scoring play, Doug Flutie to Feldman Malvo, a 5-yard toss for his first CFL TD. Here's Gino.
John, a couple of injury updates for you. First up, from the Toronto Argonaut side of the ball, Robert Drummond is on the bench, says he took one in the midsection just below the ribs. Ribs are fine, but he's having trouble regaining his wind. He figures he should be back in the game pretty soon. From the Ticat side of the ball, Jason Kaiser, strained left hamstring. He's got an ice pack on it right now, is gone for the remainder of the first half. Depending on how he feels, he may be back for the start of the second half.
Ashande Smith on the return for the Tiger Cats, one of the newcomers. And he's dragged down around the 27-yard line.
And Gino's report becomes interesting because with Jason Kaiser out with the hamstring, the slight hamstring pull, he's the nickelback for Hamilton, and that's a big part of their defensive game plan today, is to have 6 and 7 defensive backs in there at one time. So if he's out, now they've got to change their plans maybe somewhat. Well, they could just go with 6 because they've got Melvin Aldridge as well, but they don't get to use that 7th defensive back.
Ticats on first down at the 28-yard line. Cavillo shotgun, looks to the near side. And fired off target for Ted Long.
And they're
the heat coming?
Well, the heat was coming, but they're trying to work the side over to Adrian Smith, and they haven't had a sniff over on that side today. He's just sitting back 12 yards and reading the patterns in the zone defense and looking straight into the backfield. And I think if I'm Anthony Cavillo, I start to go to the right side a little bit, check out Antonius Bonner and Marcelo Simmons on the corner.
That's where the changes were made on that side.
Let Adrian Smith just kind of sit over there with not a whole lot to do.
2nd and 10 over the middle, and that might have worked had he been able to connect with Ted Long. Cavillo behind his intended receiver.
What they're trying to do is on the 3-receiver trip side of the field, they're trying to clear out and then work underneath it. Here comes Ted Long underneath again, the clear out, and this ball is just poorly thrown. And, you know, we said in our opening, John, that Anthony Cavillo had to really have a hot hand today for Hamilton, and so far
he's been cold.
He's been kind of cold.
Or at least cool.
Cool. If he's doing this still in the third quarter, he'll be cold.
If he's doing it in the third quarter, he may be out.
Yeah, we may see Mike Colley if he's still cool in the third quarter.
The pinball awaits. Ostfaldiston into the breeze this time. Standing at his own 15. A knuckler, and there'll be no return for the pinball. But great field position for the Argos at the 54-yard line of the Tiger Cats. Numbers from the opening quarter on the scoreboard, only 7 points. And fairly close when you look at this story as well. Although net yards certainly favoring the Argonauts on that last drive.
I guess the one thing that bothers me is only 22 yards in total offense for Hamilton, because I think most astute football people know if you can control the football against Doug Flutie, I mean, you stand a much better chance than having your defense have a great day stopping them. You keep the ball away from them, and 22 yards in one quarter just won't get it done.
And guess what? Flutie's got it back in a hurry. Hitting on 80% of his passes so far today. To look deep, and he's on target for Masati's first catch of the day. 6 for 106 for the veteran Paul Masati a week ago, and his first touchdown of the year.
Is this guy not fun to watch? And he's just come off 3 1,000-yard seasons in a row. And, you know, last week, the opening game, you mentioned it, 6 catches, another 100-yard game. And now tonight, another reception extends his pass-catching streak to 54 games. And this guy is just awesome. And he's so unassuming. Not the fastest guy, not the biggest guy, just one of the best.
Well, just the most open guy a lot of the time.
And that's well put.
Argos 1st and 10, batted down. That was Gonzalo Floyd, number 90, getting a big mitt on the ball. Floyd missed last week, but he would have been on the opening day roster. He had an ankle problem and was forced to sit out.
And what he gives this team here, he comes from the outside up here. He gives this team a guy that'll get upfield in a hurry. He's working on the rookie Willie Williams, and he gets the big right hand up there at the last second. But he's a guy that can get the good, quick push up the field.
Tim Trisham to the near side on 2nd and 10. Flutie shotgun and shovels it ahead for Robert Drummond, who appears to be A-OK with a run like that after making the catch. I believe he'll have the 1st down on extra effort.
Doug Flutie using his backs a lot more today than he did a week ago against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and that's because the Ticats have shown him that 3-man front so much. When you're throwing the football, you know, it's tough to beat 9 guys, so the easiest thing to do a lot of occasions is to give it to your running backs, and that's why you're seeing Clements and Robert Drummond handle the football a little more this afternoon than they did a week ago.
There's a number, 10 first downs for the Argos. Ticats have 1, and this is close enough to measure.
But that's a deceiving number. It's the statistic that it's so deceiving. If you're not scoring points, that 10-1 really doesn't mean a whole lot. Now, that may start to add up, and the defense for Hamilton gets simply tired out. But right now, that's a misleading statistic because it hasn't hurt Hamilton.
Until that last drive of 75 yards with her.
Well, it may hurt him here.
First downs.
It could be 14-0 for this guy in a couple of minutes.
Ticat defense came out fired up, and Flutie has already worn them down a little bit, but only has 7 points on the board for now. Mike Philbrick, the All-Canadian, and right tackle is being attended to by the Ticat medical staff. In fact, they're all getting a little water down there in an unofficial timeout as a result of this injury somehow.
Philbrick, week in, week out, he plays mostly on the nose on the 4-man and 3-man fronts that they use. He takes on the center and usually a guard on either side, so he's a real warrior in there. He's willing to take the pounding and the punishment to try and push that pocket week after week.
But a roughing penalty earlier will haunt him in the film room tomorrow here in the bowels of Ivor Wynne Stadium.
Yeah, he won't have a whole lot of excuses when that play comes
He'll be mad when the first quarter's gone by and he can concentrate on some of his better efforts.
You know, you're so right. I remember those film sessions, and when you had a real bonehead play coming up, I mean, there is nowhere to hide. You know you're going to get hecked for doing it.
So you hope it happened early is what you're saying.
Well,
right?
You hope it doesn't happen at all.
Yeah, but when you'd had that one on Sunday afternoon, let's do it in the first quarter so we can maybe yuck it up a little bit with a victory later in the show somehow. Flutie has another one batted down and another penalty marker. This time it was Joe Montford getting a hand on the ball. We'll check the infraction, but it could be holding in that area.
Well, not only is it holding against Gioscas that was trying to block Montford. Watch the move. He goes outside and then cuts underneath Gioscas, and Gioscas has to try and drag him down. Watch this real quick. Gioscas can't get the feet moving, and not only does he bat the ball down, he's going to have the holding penalty called against his guy.
Second down.
And see, that's what he gives you. You get Floyd on the other side, it's great upfield push, and then you get Montford, who's really a linebacker. You get him with the great speed. Pretty good guys on either end.
Good defense gives the Tiger Cats a chance to breathe and forces the Argos into 2nd and 10. Flutie for the pinball in open field. Mike Pinball Clemens runs for a first down and draws a penalty on the late hit out of bounds. Was it Ring or another Tiger Cat who put Pinball into the wall? Hard to see close to the cement down there, but Eric Carter was also in the area.
Well, this is just Mike Clements with some terrific speed to get past Eric Carter on the outside. Now Carter has to try and fight through the block, and he loses the angle. And Pinball gets to the outside, picks up the first down. And tough to see who got the roughing penalty, but
I think it might have been Ring.
I mean, what are you thinking about? He's 2-3 yards out of bounds, and I believe it's Gerald Vaughn, 39, that got the penalty. I mean, there's two. That's silly. I kind of wondered about,
Gerald Vaughn.
Going back a couple of plays when they had the holding call, you get 1st and 20 instead of, 2nd and 10. I don't know. I think I might have taken Toronto back a little farther, but that's two plays ago.
Obviously, it was an error because look where the Argos are now. First down inside the 10. Robert Drummond one-on-one, and he couldn't win that battle. Floyd on Robert Drummond in the open field, and Gonzalo won one there.
Rob Hitchcock, see him coming right up the middle safety. Now Flutie knows he's got man-to-man. That's usually a good matchup with Drummond out there, but everybody squares up. Floyd's out there, and 39, Gerald Vaughn, and they make a good stop on a tough back in the open field.
It's actually Vaughn that Drummond went up against, and Vaughn stood his ground, making this 2nd and goal to go. Ball on the 7.
And 4 receivers, watch the picks at the top.
Flutie to the end zone for the pinball. Couldn't bring it down. Vaughn was covering and got his hands down in a hurry.
Kind of looked like Gerald Vaughn got a little tug of the jersey there.
I'm not so sure
You're going to
wasn't
see
the case.
Yeah, a little bit right there. I thought there was some right about here. But the referees say no harm, no foul, and Toronto will have to settle for a field goal attempt.
Pass was off the mark, but pinball might have been slightly distracted. Moral victory for the Tiger Cats, holding the Argos to 3.
Boy, in Hamilton's defense, in one half of football, we've seen the defensive tackle Campbell drop off in pass coverage. We've seen safety blitz from Hitchcock. I mean, they are doing their best to mix it up and give Flutie different looks, but they're still going to be ahead by 10. I was assuming you'd make that.
Yes. I was not questioning the opportunity. Vanderjack, 1 for 1 this afternoon. The Argos 10, the Ticats no score. Anthony Cavillo has completed just 2 of 9 passes so far and trails 10-0 as we bring in Gino Reda.
Well, John, you guys were chatting before about the possibility that maybe head coach Don Southern is losing patience with Cavillo. Well, let me tell you this. When Cavillo was making mistakes early in the game, Southern was very, very vocal. Bringing Cavillo over, say, come on, kid, settle down. The last drive when Cavillo missed the open receiver, Southern just dropped his head in frustration, basically saying, I can't believe this is happening. It looks like Southern is losing patience. I spoke to Suds before the game, and he said to me he expected a lot more from Cavillo in the game against the Alouettes and expects much more from him in this game. And right now, he's just not delivering.
That's what I was talking about earlier, the confidence in this guy.
Well, and the problem is compounded because Don Southern does not have plan B. I mean, Mike Cauley is not plan B. I mean, this is Cavillo's team. He's going to be the guy.
Hamilton, number 89, 1st down repeated.
No, Andrew Grigg was trying to get the block on Adrian Smith there to free up the screen on Bert Thornton, and not only did Adrian Smith make a heck of a play, he drew the penalty as well. Adrian Smith's having a super first half.
So the Ticats get the completion to Thornton, then get called on the penalty.